Jody Lynn Nye lists her main career activity as spoiling cats. When not engaged upon this worthy occupation, she writes fantasy and science fiction, most of it with a humorous bent. Since 1987, she has published over 50 books and more than 170 short stories. Jody teaches writing seminars and is coordinating judge for the Writers of the Future contest. Jody, take it away.
Oh, thank you. You're all hard acts to follow, but I will try. Donna Keen-Eye's longsword, carefully cleaned from the last battle and wrapped in its oiled cloth, and her shield with its red stripe down the center bumped against the tall woman's back with every step she took. The red pennant that indicated her status as a mercenary fluttered from the hilt and tickled the back of her neck under her long brown braid. Her legs were tired, and she had finally worn through the thin place in the sole of her left boot. Cabbagetown, the gold-lettered plaque read as the track changed from mud to gravel at the edge of a village. Donna glanced around with pleasure. Life was here, not death. It was market day. Hardy merchants wrangled with their customers, apple-cheeked women in kirtles and wimples, or tall men with colorful liripipe hoods. Farmers argued about the relative merits of this or that cow. Dogs slept in the sun. A plump gray puss slept tucked up on a windowsill beside the scarlet flower in a pot. An orange-striped mother cat, her teats heavy with milk, wound around the legs of the tables on which the merchants' goods were displayed. "Are you here to conquer us?" asked a little girl with long plaits tied with blue ribbon. Donna laughed. "No, I'm just back from the wars." "You were fighting?" asked the biggest boy, hair the color of fresh wood and eyes of leaf green. "Indeed I was. I killed 8 men in the last battle at Songhelm. I and my fellow sellswords were in the front line when we laid siege to the pirates' stronghold at Valoran on the coast. We broke down the walls in only 3 days and saved the town." "Ooh," the children gasped, awed. "Did you burn their boats? Did you meet the king? Did you find bags of gold?" Now that she had proved friendly, questions bubbled up out of the children like steam in a stew pot. "Perhaps I'll tell you a tale or two later. I just want to rest now," Donna said with a smile. She turned to the butcher, who was hacking a slab of meat into collops. "Where's a good place to get a meal and a bed for the night?" The man stuck the tip of his carving knife into the chopping block and consulted the sky. "Oh, well, there's Brenner's Tavern or Mistress Peck's." The biggest of the boys, bored by such ordinary talk, picked up a stone and heaved it at the orange cat. It struck her in the side. She let out a cry and skittered underneath the weaver's table next to the butcher. "Stop that," Donna ordered. The boys paid no attention. They picked up more stones and continued to pelt the cat, who mewed piteously, trying to find a place to hide. "For God's love, what's the matter with you? Whose children are those?" she asked the tradesfolk. "Just children," the butcher replied with a shrug. "Just a cat. What do you care?" "It's wrong," Donna exclaimed angrily. "Cats are the gods' creatures, the same as we are." The man blew a derisive raspberry. Donna felt her temper flaring. Those brats were hurting an innocent animal, and he didn't intend to do a thing about it. After all the killing she had seen, senseless cruelty fired her blood. "Mind that for me," she said, thrusting her pack into the butcher's arms. She drew her sword and stuck it, point quivering, into the nearest tree. No need for it in what she intended to do. As she turned, the children instantly divined her intention. They dropped the rest of their stones and fled down the street. With a surge of strength, she hurtled down the hill, angling to come up in front of the largest boy, the initial stone thrower. "Now we'll see how much you enjoy a thrashing," she said, grabbing him by the arm. She sat down and swung him over her knee. "That's for assaulting a poor innocent beast, and that's for harming a mother, and that's for not listening to your elders." Her open hand smacked down hard on his upturned backside again and again. By the time Donna marched her captive up the hill, a crowd had gathered. "What the hell do you think you're doing to our children?" demanded the weaver. "They needed a lesson," Donna stated, thrusting the boy toward the crowd. "Cruelty to animals is a sin. You should teach them kindness. These animals are your friends and protectors." "You're a fine one to talk about holding life sacred," a gaunt, gray-haired woman declared, shaking a finger at her. "That red flag of yours gives you away. You work for a price, killing for pay." Donna walked over to the trees beside the butcher's stall and pulled her sword free. "I accept a fee to defend what I think is right, good wife. I only use my weapon in worthy service. I never harm anyone who cries me mercy and lays down his weapons. Thank you." She tugged her pack out of the butcher's limp arms. "I am only passing through. I am not looking for a fight. All I want to do is sup here and sleep, and I'll be on my way in the morning." "Leave our town," the boy's father declared, shaking his fist. "We don't want you here, sellsword. No one here wants your services or your presence." Donna growled to herself. If she hadn't been so tired, she'd given them all the flat of her hand. "I'm on the common property, and I claim the king's peace." She raised an eyebrow, defying anyone to disagree with her. No one did. The king's peace meant that they couldn't drive her off the green or within a body length of any public highway. Donna watched longingly as a cluster of merrymakers followed Mistress Peck through the cheerfully painted wooden door at the corner of the square. Beer, she thought wistfully. Roast beef. Tempting smells floated out to her on the evening breeze. She jumped back in alarm as something cold and slimy fell on her hand. The tabby cat she had rescued sat at her feet with tail wound around its paws, looking up at her with big green saucer-like eyes. The thing that had fallen off Donna's hand was a freshly caught trout. Taking pity on the hungry traveler, she said, reaching down to scratch the cat behind the ears. Thank you. It'll be most welcome. With flint and tinder from her pack, she struck a small fire, gutted and staked the fish over it to cook. It was delicious. The cat watched her eat, then disappeared into the darkness. Donna banked the fire and settled herself uncomfortably against the tree. Birdsong woke her at false dawn. Donna's free hand clenched on something unfamiliar, which squirmed. She struggled to sit up. A heavy weight on her chest and legs shifted. Her hand fumbled for her sword. A blanket of felines rolled or stalked off Donna's body, leaving behind cold morning air. Donna gaped. They had spent the night on her, providing her with a living blanket. But that was not all. From the protected hollow in the crook of her arm sprawled 4 kittens. The mother cat unwound herself from a ball next to Donna's head and came over to rub against Donna's jaw, then began to lick the kittens vigorously. Well, so much for my reputation for vigilance, Donna said, touching the little ones' delicate heads. The kits were so young, their ears were still rounded. I'm glad my sisters in arms weren't here to see me sleep through that. Thank you for keeping me warm. A kindness for a kindness. The mother cat arched her back upward, then stalked away, leaving her kittens in the curve of Donna's arm. Wait, I'm not a nursemaid, Donna called, then chided herself. How could she expect a cat to understand what she was saying? She began to repair her torn boot. A soft but insistent mew interrupted her thoughts. The orange cat had returned, laying another fish at her feet. Her right paw was wet up to the shoulder, but the rest of her was dry. You've decided to feed me, eh? Donna said, picking up the fish. It was a mature brook trout, twice the length of her hand. Plenty of good meat on it. The cat chirruped expectantly. Is it out of gratitude? Donna asked. Because you already thanked me last night. Then, to Donna's surprise, the cat walked from the fish to the pennant hanging from Donna's shield and back again, rubbing up against the mercenary's knee with each pass. Donna let the corners of her mouth perk up with amusement. You couldn't be hiring me? The cat chirruped again. How can you understand what I said yesterday? How could you possibly know what I do? The cat gave her a wise look. What is it you want me to do then? Protect you? Or you and your babies? The cat climbed into Donna's lap, briefly licked the top of each kitten's head, then stared up at the warrior again. By the gods, I believe you are hiring me. Why not? Very well, it's a bargain. She put out a hand to seal the deal, as she did with her human clients, and laughed at herself as the cat sniffed her fingers. Here then, she said, formally, unhooking the pennant. My gauge is the symbol of my service. Carry it until my duty to you is discharged. She wound the streamer twice around the cat's neck, tying the loose ends in a bow. A bit gaudy with your coloring, my lady, but not too bad. The butcher passed by with a cart full of meat, saw the red streamer up around the cat's neck, and snorted. How much is it paying you? He asked. 2 fish a day, Donna replied. I've had better wages, but I've had worse too. You can read the rest of this story in my book, and I hope that you will enter to win the free copy. Thank you so much.